Welcome to the Rewatch Room Podcast.
Welcome back to the Rewatch Room Podcast, where we watch or rewatch your favorite classic films and review. Favorite fumes? Okay.
Sorry, I'm dying.
Right. Your favorite classic film? One more time. If I don't get it, we're never doing this again. I'm Christian, along with my co-host. What? Welcome back to the Rewatch Room Podcast, where we watch or rewatch your favorite classic films and review them. I'm Christian, along with my co-host Callan. How's it going, Callan?
It's going fantastic. Just watched the end of the England-Argentina game, and looks like it's going to be Argentina again in the finals. Argentina-Spain.
Dude, these games have been absolutely crazy. I don't know what's going on this World Cup, but it seems like every game, Argentina just pulls a rabbit out of a hat. They'll be down 2 or 3 goals and somehow just immediately come back in like the last 10 minutes. It's been insane. Who you got this Sunday in the final, Spain or Argentina?
I think Argentina does it again, dude. I think Messi gets his second World Cup. Spain is slept on. Don't get me wrong. Nobody had them beating France.
I don't know if they're slept on anymore after that win. Without further ado, let's get into our movie review. Callan, what movie did we decide to watch this week, and tell us why you chose it?
This week, we watched the movie Seven.
What's in the box?
Directed by David Fincher, starring Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt. I chose this movie because I really enjoy mystery, crime, psychological thrillers, this kind of dark tone movies that are really thought-provoking and intricate when it comes to like the detective work. I also really like Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. This movie was released in 1995, so it's a bit of an older one.
Crazy that 1995 is 31 years ago already.
I know. I know. I was just looking at I was just like counting on my fingers, like, holy shit, it's 2026. That is 30 years ago. David Fincher, he's a great director. He's known for a couple other pieces of work. I think this was his second movie. He did Alien 3 before this, which wasn't received that well. I don't think it performed that well.
What a banger, though, for a second movie. Like, that's crazy.
And then I think he followed this one up with Fight Club, so.
Jeez. He must be a Brad Pitt fan.
Yeah.
Callan, could you give us a little plot recap for folks who haven't seen Seven, or if you have, this will be a little refresher.
Seven follows 2 homicide detectives, one who's been on the job forever and is about to retire, and a younger hotshot who's just transferred in, as they hunt down a serial killer who's murdering people based on the 7 deadly sins. What starts as a pretty straightforward murder investigation slowly turns into this really dark psychological game, where the killer is always one step ahead and is basically forcing the detectives to question their own morals. It all builds up to one of the most infamous endings in movie history.
Yeah, like you said, in the little plot breakdown, our 2 kind of main characters are David Mills, played by Brad Pitt, who's the inexperienced, gung-ho, brash, trying to prove his worth detective, and William Somerset, played by Morgan Freeman, who's 1 week out from retirement. He's detail-oriented, he's, serious, and he's been in the game for a long time. And then also we have a couple other side characters, like Tracy, played by Gwyneth Paltrow, the murderer, played by Kevin Spacey, and then a couple different other actors and stuff like that in some very minor roles. But to kind of start with the character breakdown, what did you think about our 2 main characters, Mills and Somerset, played by Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman?
I thought they were really great. Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt did a fantastic job. Their performances were out of this world for this one.
Have they done anything together prior to this or after this? I'm not sure, but I mean, I would like to see it again.
Not to my knowledge. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I thought that, they had great chemistry though. And I thought I was laughing at some of the moments in the movie where Morgan Freeman's character Somerset he just seemed really annoyed by Brad Pitt's character.
There's definitely some humorous moments in there.
Yeah, that one in particular is when they're working on the case in Mills's apartment, and Mills asks him if he wants a drink, if he wants a beer, and he says, wine is fine. And he goes and gets him a glass of wine, but he doesn't put it in a wine glass. He puts it in like a tall drinking
Yeah,
glass.
almost like a pint glass or something.
And Somerset's character, like you said, he's very, when he picks it up to drink it, he just looks at it like, what in the hell? So I thought that was kind of indicative of their relationship and the types of detectives they are. But yeah, I thought they did a really good job.
I feel like everybody in their 20s and 30s has experienced something like this where you start working at a new job or something and you're just trying to show that you're a hard worker, this and that, but also, you know, maybe your methods of doing something might be different than how it's been done for the past 50 years. And that doesn't mean that is bad, but you know, there's just a way to, you know, the young generation is going to do things differently. So I felt like that was kind of a cool, you know, cool dichotomy to show too. It's like, you know, Brad Pitt's character is kind of, you know, doing things in a young person's way, and then Morgan Freeman's just like, man, I'm cooked. Like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah, that's also a major theme in this movie is apathy. They talk about it actually just directly to each other.
What did you think about the kind of like overall tone of the movie, the setting, the color palette, the cinematography, pacing? Kind of, you know, give me an overview of what you thought about all that sort of stuff. I know that was kind of a lot to drop on you, but just overall vibe of the movie. What did you think about it?
I thought it was really immersive. They kind of throw you into this world. It's a fictional city. It seems like it's always gloomy. It's dark. It's raining. So I think they did a good job with the set, kind of setting the tone of that matches what the story is. Serial killer basing his murders off of the seven deadly sins. So you kind of have to make it darker. I thought it was shot really well. The music was fine. Pretty typical, like, psychological thriller, murder-esque.
What did you think about the opening of the movie where they're showing the killer, like kind of like the opening credits where there's like the music and they're showing the killer kind of like planning out all the murders and stuff? Because after I watched the movie and I looked it up, apparently that like specific opening scene, I guess with like the music and stuff like that, really became kind of like a mainstay in a lot of movies after that. Apparently like that was a very film industry defining sort of opening, or like one of the first ones that did it well or something like that. So what'd you think about that?
Really? I thought it was kind of like cliche, like 80s, 90s openings that like they always, I know they want to like give credit where credit's due to all the people that worked on the movie, and they do it in like an artistic way. But
dude, you don't even see like opening credit scenes barely
that's
anymore.
what I'm saying. Is like, to me, I'm like, all right, let's get on with this. I want the movie to start because it feels like it
Yeah, we
goes
don't
on
need
for
like 10 minutes
yeah,
of like
for
terrible
several
music.
minutes. Yeah, I didn't actually really pay attention to
Dude, that part was
some of the
probably
shots.
scarier than the whole movie for me. Like just the music and all that sort of stuff. I don't listen to stuff like that. So that music with like the different serial killer shots and stuff like that, I was like, dang, this is kind of creepy, man.
What about the pacing of the movie? How did you feel about that? Because I thought at times I thought it was great. Other times I thought it was a little slower. So it was a bit of a bumpy ride for me.
Honestly, I didn't think the pacing was bad. It felt like the movie flew by for the most part. I didn't really have any complaints too much about the pacing. I feel like there were some scenes like where it would go from like a very intense like hunt for the serial killer or like a very intense crime scene, and then it would just like go to like Brad Pitt's wife Tracy, played by Gwyneth Paltrow, in like the apartment, like just different scenes like that. I honestly was thankful for that because, like I said, I don't really love psychological thriller or horror that much, so I felt like when they kind of gave you a break from like the gory crime scenes and stuff like that, I was like, phew, like okay, like we're back at the apartment or something. Like, so they probably did that intentionally, for that reason.
I think some of those scenes you were talking about were actually a good,
Like the best parts
not
of the
only
movie.
not only good balance, but yeah, I think some of the best parts of the movie because they really fleshed out the characters, just showed them being like human in a way. Particularly the scene where Tracy Mills's wife calls their office, and Mills answers the phone, and she wants to speak to his partner instead, and she invites him over for dinner. They have a nice dinner. They have a good laugh. And I thought that part was like really wholesome and a good
Yeah, I
step
felt like
away from like all the, the sick and twisted things that were going on.
I feel like before that, Somerset character played by Morgan Freeman, it just, you couldn't really like relate to him on anything. Like he was
Yeah,
kind of just like this stone cold guy.
yeah, they don't really give him much background either. Whereas, like with Mills's character, you get to see his home life. You see he's a dog owner. He loves his dogs. You see the kind of relationship he has with his wife, where they like, they call each other insults as like pet names. He's like, "What's going on, idiot?" I thought those cute. Fleshed out their characters a bit. But yeah, like you said with Somerset, you don't really get that. You don't see like
Yeah, he
where
talks
he
about like he
lives
was in a
or
relationship before and like he almost got married and stuff, but I think they intentionally like kept his character kind of under wraps.
yeah, he's supposed to be a little more ambiguous, definitely.
Did you know much about like the seven deadly sins before watching this? Because I probably couldn't even name one of them before I watched this movie. Like I kind of thought the seven deadly sins were more like maybe like 10 commandments, like don't, kill anybody, don't like commit adultery, stuff like that. Like I didn't know it was like gluttony and this and that and different things. What was your familiarity with all that stuff?
So I actually was familiar with each of the seven deadly sins. Like I knew I could
You've been
name all
going to
seven. I
Catholic
could name
church
all
recently?
seven of them. But yeah, I was gonna say not for the reasons you think. I didn't grow up in a religious household. But this is for all my my anime fans out there. If you've watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, you know the seven deadly sins. So
Oh
I'll
man,
leave it
okay.
at
I
that.
don't watch anime, so
Yeah,
I'm
that's it's a major
dang,
it's a
wow.
major theme of the show. There's these villains. If you haven't seen Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and you plan on watching it, skip ahead. But there's these villains in the show, and they are created by using human souls as sacrifices, and each one of them is given the name of one of the seven deadly sins. So that's how I know them. But
Okay.
yeah.
Well, who would have thought? Well, that means you're going to get into heaven because God said that you watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Maybe I
Yeah,
need to watch.
you should. I highly recommend it. It's a great show.
What were some of your favorite parts or something that you found interesting during the movie, or even parts that you didn't like?
I did enjoy each of the murder scenes. Thought it was very interesting seeing them work on the scenes and how they go about looking for clues and evidence and just their thought process.
Yeah, there was definitely like a dichotomy that they showed like, hey, this Somerset guy played by Morgan Freeman, like he's seasoned, like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
Like at the very beginning they show him
yeah.
like matching up like the metal on the floor and all this different stuff. So I think they definitely showed that dichotomy well.
I mean, Brad Pitt's character, David Mills, he's inexperienced, trying to prove himself, but in the same sense, he gave a different perspective, and he added a lot. He brought a lot to the table when it came to catching the killer. Somerset's character, he didn't cut corners at all. And one example of that is when he gets a lead by looking at books in the library that have to do with the seven deadly sins. Tells Mills, like, you need to read these books. And Mills, instead of going to read the actual books, he gets somebody to get the cliff notes for him and then tells Somerset that he read them when it comes up in conversation. Yeah, actually watching this, I don't know if this is just me being Gen Z. I thought Cliff Notes was like just a website. I felt so stupid.
Dude, my mom literally was telling me the other day, you would literally go to the library and like check out the Spark Notes of like a book. Like it was like a physical thing.
Oh my gosh, the Spark Notes was the same way.
I'm pretty sure, dude. Like it was literally like basically another like pamphlet or like book that you would check out that's like, like 50 pages instead of like 300 or whatever the size may be.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, I thought it was strictly just like a website that, I myself and a lot of people I know in like middle school and high school used when they didn't want to read chapters of a book for English class.
One of my favorite parts of the movie was when they're trying to look for suspects. Somerset, played by Morgan Freeman, gets like basically hires a guy illegally to kind of look at the like local library and look at the list of books that people have been checking out, because apparently, I guess back in the day, and I never looked this up to see if it was real or not, but either way, just for the movie, the FBI would check to see what books people were checking out to like see, you know, if they were like checking out anything sus, like he said like Mein Kampf and different things like that.
Yeah, I think it was
kinda,
it was like certain
like
pieces,
to put you on a watch list.
It was like certain pieces of work they recorded the people that checked them out. It's like you said, Mein Kampf, and like certain books that would raise red flags, I guess.
But basically, like they do this illegally, and they end up tracking down the actual serial killers. They go to his apartment, and this is like one of the best scenes in the movie, in my opinion, because it kind of becomes this like big action scene, one of the only like major action scenes in the movie. They end up kind of debating when they get to the serial killer's apartment, or what they think is the serial killer's apartment at that time during the movie. They're debating whether or not they should break in, because obviously they can't reveal that they secretly went behind the police department's back and used this FBI technology to discover what books people were checking out and stuff like that. Like they didn't have a warrant or anything. There's a scene right before this, there's like a crime scene, and Mills and Somerset are on a stairway, and a photographer comes up and starts taking pictures, like a photojournalist. Eventually you realize that that photojournalist was actually the serial killer one step ahead, and the photos were planted in the apartment that they end up breaking into. And so that part was like one of the biggest twists to me, just because I seriously did not expect that.
You know,
what did you think about that whole scene?
I thought I loved it. It was a great little twist. But I watched this movie with my girlfriend and her mom, and that scene you're talking about, where the photographer takes a picture of David Mills at the crime scene. And, you know, David Mills is like, get the hell out of here. What are you doing? This is a crime scene. How'd you get in here? Beat it. After that, like immediately after that happened, because I guess of the way it was shot, like the camera angle, you can't really see like the photographer's face.
Yeah, you can't see his face.
Right after it happened, my girlfriend turns to me. She's like, that's definitely the killer.
What?
Yeah, she
Yo, that is
there was a couple
crazy.
things in this movie, and she got the ending too, when the delivery driver came and brought the box. Well, all know the infamous scene. What's in the box? My girlfriend was like, it's probably his wife's head.
I feel like that part, maybe because it's like 30 something years old. I mean, I didn't really hear much about this movie other than the fact that like two people told me about like a head being in a box. And for some reason, like knowing that the whole time, I was just like, it's going to be his wife. Like, I don't know. I just kind of sussed it out. Like right before that scene where the serial killer ends up like turning himself in, and the serial killer is basically like, hey, you guys have to come with me to this like remote location or whatever, or I'm going to plead insanity and I'm going to get off. So they end up going to the remote location. During the drive to like the desert, wherever this is taking place, like I felt like Mills, like Brad Pitt's character, was bringing up his wife like a couple different times. And I was like, dang, this guy definitely killed his wife.
Yeah, a little bit of foreshadowing. Yeah. Let's talk about the killer real quick. John Doe, played by Kevin Spacey. Let me say this. The first time you hear his voice, the phone's ringing in the apartment, John Doe's apartment. Mills answers it. I don't remember the exact conversation they have. I think he's like, I respect you guys, you detectives. You guys
It's
are
like a
smarter
cat
than you
and
thought.
mouse sort of
Whatever.
game.
Yeah. When I heard this voice, I was like, that's Kevin Spacey. I don't know how I knew it. I think he's got somewhat of a distinct voice, but I feel like I haven't seen him in that much. For some reason, I knew it was him.
Yeah, he's kind of been blacklisted by Hollywood.
Yeah. What was he involved in?
He was like grooming
predatory
like young
shit?
boys. Yeah.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. This dude was genuinely like scary to me.
I feel like knowing just the terrible stuff that Kevin Spacey has done, like no wonder he played this role so well.
Yeah, it's also like the mix of being that like mentally ill and insane, but also the combination of being that clever and that like having it well thought out to like be that far ahead of the detectives and know what they're going to do before they even do it. That's one of my gripes with this movie, is towards the end, before they make the deal to go on the drive, is he says he's going to plead insanity. I just think with all the evidence they found, they said he had like thousands of notebooks worth of like just
Yeah, bro,
his
no
thoughts
way.
written down. If he's that like articulate and can read and write, and he's that organized, I don't think that he should plead insanity.
Yeah, I mean,
correct me if
I
I'm
don't.
wrong, but like insanity is like, like you're
He didn't know what he
actually
was doing, type of vibe.
right, like you're like manic and like losing yourself,
Yeah,
you know,
type shit.
but type shit for real.
No, but seriously though, like I agree. Like I was like, plead insanity. Like, bro, I mean, I don't really know how that works too much, but I was just like, I mean, you could try, but like you said, they have all this evidence. They have like recordings, they have notebooks, they have the apartment, everything. Like, that person's
Yeah,
more than insane. That's just like sadistic behavior. Like
correct.
there, I
Yeah,
feel like there's a difference between being insane and being like actually.
just like intentionally evil, sadistic, like you
Yeah, like I
said.
feel like an
Like,
insane person would like maybe do something like on accident or like it's not intentional, but yes, like he was sadistic. Like this was thought out and purposeful.
the ending, what did you think? Were you shocked? Were you like pale from it? Did it make your skin crawl? Were you satisfied with it? What did you think?
I just want to say, firstly, I'm so glad that they didn't show the head. I like when I was watching it, I literally said out loud to my fiance, I was like, "Are they going to show Gwyneth Paltrow's head?"
Yeah, I thought that was a
But
good choice not to show it.
I mean, that part was definitely shocking just in general. Like I said, I predicted it, but it was still shocking. And then also, I thought the more shocking part was that Mills ends up killing him. I really did not expect that. I really wanted
Really
his character to beat the darkness in his heart or whatever. I was like, oh man,
beat the
I don't know.
allegations of being
The
the sin wrath.
the tone of the movie was definitely dark, but I was like, dang, there's no way he's gonna kill this guy. Like that was actually like the shocking part to me. What about you?
One thing I want to ask you though, if you were in his shoes, would you have done what he did, or would you have turned a new leaf and done the quote unquote right thing? Because I know if it were me, I would have done the same thing.
I mean,
I couldn't resist. I would have had
I want
to shoot
I
him.
want to say that I wouldn't have done it, but who knows? Like the rage that you would feel in that moment. I mean, the dude literally cut his wife's head off. So like I really can't say unless I was in that moment, but like I said, I would say that I would try to, I guess, find empathy for this horrible human, but
I
but
mean, he
yeah,
killed her in such a gruesome and brutal way, and not only that,
I mean,
he
I guess I don't
talked
want to
not only
defend it.
that, but his unborn child, who he had no
Oh,
idea. I
dude,
mean, he
yeah, I
did,
forgot about that.
yeah, she was
I don't,
pregnant.
I don't
It's
want to
just
defend killing, but like he did shoot him. I feel like that's like way less like gruesome than the way that he killed his wife. I guess at least he just shot him and it wasn't like too crazy.
sure, yeah. My only argument would be with committing all of these murders and doing it in such a brutal and savage way. I think he would have gotten the electric chair. No, like he would have been sent. He would have gotten the death sentence anyway. I think it's a state law, right? So it depends on
Yeah,
what
it
state
depends on
you're
where it
in.
took place, but it's like unnamed, so I don't really know.
Yeah,
I thought the movie was going to keep going. I was kind of curious to see where Brad Pitt's character ended up, Mills. After he shot him and killed him, I kind of thought that Mills's character might get off. They were going to maybe, I thought there was maybe 10, 15 minutes left in the movie. Like, I don't know if it was like going to go to trial or whatnot. And they were just going to like basically say like, I don't know, like 1 year in jail or community service and different stuff because
huh.
like, just that reaction to something so horrific is like, I don't know, like I just would think that when you put it up to a jury of this guy brutally killed your wife and then you shot him out of rage, to me, he might not be as deserving of a terrible punishment as, say, the actual serial killer.
Yeah, I thought it was smart to end it there. There's really nothing good that comes after that, in my opinion. I'm just glad they didn't make it even darker because you said, you wanted to see like, and did he serve any time? What were the repercussions? I thought maybe he was going to shoot himself after shooting John Doe.
Wow, I didn't think about that, but I'm kind of glad that.
Yeah, so I'm glad they didn't.
I
go
was
in that
shocked they showed him
direction.
like getting arrested and stuff. Mills.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it though to just end like that though, honestly. Like it felt like it was like he shot him and then he gets like put away in a cop car and then it just cuts to credits. I was kind of like, I don't know. I thought the ending was like it was like the climax of the movie.
Yeah,
and then it like fell off a cliff. It was like,
Yeah.
whoa, that's the end?
It was a little abrupt, but
I'm like, can we get a 7 Chamber of Secrets? Like I need to see.
there's some closure.
No, seriously, man. Like they emotionally worked you up the whole time, and then it was just like he kills him. Like GG's.
What rating did you give this one out of 5?
I gave Seven a 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed the film. Surprisingly, like I said from the beginning, I'm not that into thriller or horror, but I thought the movie was great. I thought every actor in the movie, from Brad Pitt to Morgan Freeman to Gwyneth Paltrow to Kevin Spacey, did a really great job at their role. I really don't have any complaints with it, to be honest. It felt like the pacing was great. Everything was tight knit. The plot kind of kept you wanting more. I never got bored or checked my phone, anything like that. So I would, I wouldn't say perfect movie, of course, but yeah, 4.5 out of 5. What about you?
I gave this one a 4 out of 5 for most of the same reasons. Like you said, I really just love solving mysteries and doing crime work. I'm a sucker for that sort of stuff. My only complaint would be the pacing at some points where it felt like they were on a roll. They were making progress on the case, and then it just kind of mellow out for a bit. And then obviously the ending was awesome, that build up and that climax. And the only complaint there would be it just felt like the bad guys won and the good guys lost. But I guess that was also kind of the point
that was the point of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really the only part that I that I didn't like, because I feel like I'm just Marvel brained. I was like, I want to see Iron Man win.
yeah, where's our hero? What the hell? Thanks everybody for listening. Be sure to follow us on Letterboxd at Critic Callan and at Christian Aliso, ChristianAlliso. Subscribe to our YouTube, share, leave a comment on what film we should do next and why.
We'll be back soon.